Hello viewers, welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel, and today I have a 2007 Dodge Caravan and it has a 3.3 liter engine. Today the customer's complaint is that the check engine light is on and there's a heavy misfire and there is a lack of acceleration and a lack of power, and so the customer has already replaced the number 2 fuel injector and also replaced the ignition coil pack on this vehicle. They also stated that they replaced the front 3 spark plugs. So anyhow, we are going to have a look at this and see on what's going on. So the first thing you want to do is just verify the customer's complaint. Crank the engine over, see that it's misfiring. Earlier I did crank it over and there was a little bit of an extended crank. So I'm going to crank it over. Now it fires right up. You can see the check engine light is on, and I could already feel in the steering wheel that there's a heavy or a dead misfire in the one cylinder. So we are going to have a look on the scan tool to see on what codes are stored and go from there. So we are going to have a look for trouble codes now to see on what's stored in the vehicle's computer. You want to press a health report. We are scanning the entire system now. So we have all of the trouble codes here. I'm interested in the PCM, P0202 fuel injector 2 circuit open, and then there's a misfire on cylinder 2, P0302. You have stuff for a transmission control module. Battery was disconnected. I'm probably most likely not worried about those. And my main concern is the 2 codes here. Just having a look at the freeze frame data here. Okay, so we are going to go underneath the hood and just do our visual inspection first and see on what's going on. So I noticed while the vehicle was running, I could smell raw fuel being dumped into the exhaust. So I'm suspecting there could be something else going on, and the customer did the repairs themselves. So I don't know if they cleared the codes or not. So we are just going to clear the codes and see if that fuel injector code comes back, and then we will proceed from there. So the codes are cleared now. Go to the system scan and rescan the PCM again. I want to see if this is a hard fault or not. A hard fault as in if it's a wiring issue while the vehicle is not uh, running. Because if the code comes back for P0202, then we know that there is a wiring or a PCM problem. So we're going to go back into the PCM. Read fault code. It said no DTCs. So we are going to start the engine now. It was a very long extended crank. I'm just gonna wait till the check engine light comes back on, and it's back on. Now you see P0202 trouble code stored. So we are just going to shut the vehicle off now. So the codes the code came back. So I'm just doing my visual inspection here, just having a look at at some of the wires, make sure there isn't anything obvious, and also behind the ignition coil pack here as well and stuff. I was just trying to see if there's like a bad ground or something in the back here, just doing a visual inspection. One thing I noticed here is that I only see some of the spark plugs that have been changed, and I noticed that the boot here for the number 2 looks burnt. So this looks burnt, the wire. And also I noticed that there's a crack on the ceramic of the spark plug here, and I'm able to feel it. If you look closely, you can see a crack here. I think there's a problem here, but I believe there's more than one issue going on. So this spark plug is no good. And also, I don't know if that has been changed. I noticed that this one that's in the middle in cylinder 4 has not been changed because it's all rusted. But this one has been changed because it looks brand new. I also noticed that there's a bunch of oil in there or something. I don't know what that is, so I'm probably going to take it out and have a look at it. So I'm just gonna remove this spark plug just to have a look at it. So you can see the spark plug has raw fuel coming onto it. You can see all the black spots there, and you can see on the ceramic it's cracked. You see all the cracks here. This spark plug is no good. You can see the crack on the ceramic here. I don't know if this plug was over tightened or I'm not exactly sure. You're able to see the crack all the way going down. So for now, we're just going to put this spark plug back in, and we're going to have a look at the fuel injector, the wiring, and we might have to check the PCM. So for now, we're just going to tighten up the spark plug snug, just a tiny bit. Just reinstall the spark wire for now. So the situation I'm in at the moment is that I don't want to take off the intake in order to get access to the fuel injector wiring here. I may need to try to squeeze in there, see if I will be able to get the connector off from here. There may be some access, so I can try that. Try to make sure that there isn't a loose connection here. So otherwise, we are just going to pull the connector off from where we are, because I really don't want to pull the whole intake off and cause myself more work just to check the wiring. So right now I'm just gonna see if I'm able to even if I'm able to get the connector off from here. Pulled up on the red locking tab. Now I'm pushing against the black tab in order to get this out. You want to be careful, and you don't want to break these connectors off. Mm-hmm. So right now we're just having a quick look at the wiring diagram for how the circuit works. You see the battery here and fuse, 16 25 amp fuse. This is the IPM, integrated power module, which is the fuse block on the driver's side. So there's an auto shutdown relay here, and as you go further down the wiring diagram to fuel injector number 2, which is brown and white, go all the way down here, and that goes through the injector control circuit into the PCM. This is basically the injector driver inside the PCM that controls the fuel injectors. So we are going to have a look at that. There's also some other stuff that I printed out from service information here. I'm going to check the PCM. So at the C2 connector, it's a black and orange connector. We're going to look at pin 13 for the injector control number 2. The C2 connector, which is black and orange. And I already had a look at the like the firing order and everything. Cylinder 2 would be here, and this is the front of the vehicle, so it would be the most left. And you can see the wire, it says 2, so that's cylinder 2. So I go back into the pictures here. It says that the powertrain control module is located just behind the driver's side wheel well area, behind the left side headlight. So it's hiding here. So we are going to go over here and have a look and see on what's going on, and we are going to check the resistance of the wires from one end to the other, and we're going to see if it's a wiring problem or if it's a computer problem. So I know you guys are not able to see very well here, but I believe that the wiring for the fuel injector or the injectors have been changed behind the underneath the intake here, because the wires are like a gray wire. The color is gray, and one has like a white and gray stripe on it. I don't know if it's the original wiring from the manufacturers, because I know that on these vans they had some problems with the wiring for the fuel injectors. So I don't know if it has been replaced or not, but we are going to check them. So the PCM will be hiding somewhere behind here. So we're just going to remove the screws that's holding the fender over here. So we're going to remove the screws now. There are some trim clips that you will need to pull out. Take this one out first instead. One over here. Broken now. We're going to take this one out now. We might just leave that in place, because it's causing ourselves some extra work for no reason. But I do want to get it out of the way. We'll just replace those clips afterwards. Just get the inner fender out of the way so you have access to the PCM here. I'm not sure as to why Chrysler decided to put a computer beside the wheel well area where it would collect a bunch of water, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get those screws out because they're all rotted and rusty. So I may just need to get it out from this bracket here if I have to replace the PCM. But anyhow, we're just going to check it. So we're going to look for this C2 connector. The stupid horn is in the way here. So we're just going to have a look here, and I'm going to pull out the connector and go from there. Just slightly bending the bracket for the horn so I can have some more room here. So I'm looking for the C2 connector. I'm not sure which one that is, so probably just gonna have to take each one out and see which one it is. It's supposed to be a black and orange connector, but they are not labeled here. So I tried looking in the service information or service data, but I couldn't find anything. So I'm gonna see which one the C2 is. I don't know if it's this one or this one here. So we're gonna see if I can pull the tab here. I need to pull up on the tab here, on the red locking tab. So I just used my nail to push this back. I'll do this one here for you guys to see. You can use a nail or flat head behind here to push back on the connector. And push back like so. And push down on the tab and pull out. You may need to wiggle the connector. That's not it. This is looks like a white and black connector here. We'll pull this one out. This is green. We're just going to plug these ones back in. I need the orange connector. So we're gonna plug these ones back in. Looks like these automatically, they clip back into place. So we're gonna try the third one in the back here. You could use a 90-degree pick. And this one is the orange one here. This one is the one that we want. Just gonna quickly inspect it, see if there's any corrosion or anything. There's some dirt in here. So you can see here is pin 10, and then pin 13 would be over here. 10, 11, 12, and 13. So pin 13 will be here, injector control number 2. So according to the picture in the diagram, we need pin 13 for the injector control number 2, pin 13. So pin 10 is in the corner here. Pin 38 is down here. Pin 29 is here. And pin 1 is at the very top. So pin 13 would be, this is pin 10, 11, 12, and 13. So it'll be over here. That's pin 13 for the number 2 fuel injector control side. So we're gonna check pin 13 here. Pin 13. So this is 10, 11, 12, and 13 over here. So you're gonna carefully put the probe in here. So I have the banana connector here that I'm going to hook up. So now I'm hooked up to the fuel injector wiring here on the control. Connected to my lead here, and to the lead over here, to the PCM connector. And now I'm on the resistance scale. I'm getting 572.2 ohms. So that's quite a bit of resistance in the wiring. I'm suspecting that there's most likely a wiring issue, and the wiring would need to be repaired. We would still have to check for the PCM after the wiring is repaired, because we don't know 100% if the PCM is okay, but we are most likely looking at a wiring problem here due to the very high resistance. We are going to do some more checks in just a moment. So now I check the other end of the connector on the fuel injector. It's a 2-pin fuel injector connector. This is reading okay here. It's 1.1 ohms. I just need to verify that I've connected to the correct wire for the other one, because the other one was like 572 ohms. So I'm just going to double check everything just to make sure I'm doing everything correctly. So this reading is good. This is low resistance, and it should be fine. So now I have the key on into the ignition. The key is on, so the circuit is loaded. I just grabbed my test light. I'm connected to the positive side here, and so I'm gonna connect the test light to the ground circuit, and it's supposed to light up. So I have my test light here. I'm just going to check the ground circuit here, make sure it's working properly. I'm double checking my work. So we're going to just put the test light here, and you should see it light up. You can also use a multimeter just to verify the voltage readings and make sure that the connectors are disconnected, so it's not connected to the actual component. So I'm just having a look at the wiring here. So this is my other test that I'm doing at the moment. So I know that the ground side is okay, and we checked the resistance values. It was getting like 1.2 ohms, so the ground side is okay. But I'm suspecting now that the positive control side is where the issue is, because the PCM is most likely uh, not sending a signal to activate the fuel injectors. The PCM injector driver circuit for number 2, it may not be working properly, but we are going to double check things, and we're going to check for power at the control side now. So now I've connected the test light to the negative side here, just to check the control side. I don't think it's gonna work. I believe the vehicle has to be running in order to check it. So I have the negative hooked up. It's not going to light up in this case, but when I hook it up to the positive side here to check the ground of the pins, then it lights up. One issue that I found here is that these terminals are loose. They are very loose. And also here, this nut was also loose. Same for the positive side. So I don't know if that's causing any issues or not. So right now we're going to just clean the connector out with the electrical contact cleaner spray, and we're going to clean the one that's on the computer and hook it up, and we're still going to check the control side with the test light, and see most likely with the vehicle running, and see if it lights up or not. So we're just going to clean this out. It is possible that there could be dirt inside, but it's unlikely, but it's worth a try. So we're just gonna clean the pins out and everything, and we're gonna clean it on the computer as well. So sometimes the source of electrical issues could be from loose battery terminals, but at this time we don't know that. So right now we're just going to tighten up the terminals, see if they tighten up, and go from there, because loose terminals can cause electrical issues, and also having a bad alternator as well. So we're just going to see if we can tighten up the terminals. Now it's tight. So now once that's dried up, we're gonna reinstall the connector. You could also put electrical contact grease, but I'm still in the testing phase at the moment. So we're just gonna install the connector now back into the PCM. Now, if you are having a hard time trying to get the connector in, you may need to use a pick to straighten out the the seal that's inside the connector. There's a white seal here to protect the connector from getting water or moisture inside. So sometimes the seal, it may be twisted and you may not be able to get the connector back onto the PCM. So you may need to straighten out the seal that's inside here. So I finally got the connector in. The seals were kind of like they were ripped and split. So you may have to go to the dealership to get a new seal for the PCM connector, and that's the reason why it was not clicking into place. I thought maybe there was something in the way. So when you install the connectors, it should click just like that. You want to make sure the red locking tab is placed inside properly, and you also want to try to tug on the wires. Make sure that they are not loose or anything. So I'm just going to grab my test light now, hook it up to the ground side of the battery to check the control side. We may need to have the vehicle running in order to check it. I'm just going to start the vehicle and just see if I'm able to get power onto the control side. So we are getting power here on the control side, but the PCM is just not energizing the fuel injector. So now we have ground here. I'm going to shut the vehicle off now. So now I think I'm done my testing for the most part. I'm suspecting that the PCM is no good and it's not energizing the fuel injector driver, so to fire the fuel injector. So I'm just going to reinstall the connector back now. So now I have a bunch of all these codes because I had the connector disconnected. So I'm just going to clear all the codes here. Okay, I'm just going to go back and do a full system scan. Now at this present moment, I'm suspecting that the PCM is bad. I've done all of my checks here. The wires, they seem to be okay. They are not open completely because the computer is setting a P0202 fuel injector code, stating that the circuit is open completely. So that means that there's no continuity going on the control side. So I'm suspecting that the PCM is bad, and that one of the fuel injector driver circuit inside the PCM is no good. Aside from all of that, I found a few other issues, such as the bad spark plugs that has a crack on the insulator and the burnt wires. I'm probably going to recommend the spark plug change, and to recommend to replace all of the spark wires. And I know that these vans are very common for the spark plugs getting seized inside the head, so you have to be extremely careful, because I've seen a few of these, the spark plug breaks, and then you're gonna have a hard time trying to extract the spark plug out. So anyhow, I'm just scanning for codes. I'm going to clear the codes again, and then just verify everything is okay, and then I'm going to call a PCM now. Now, usually you would check for the powers and grounds, make sure everything is okay before you call the PCM. But I can see that the wiring is okay, going from and to the PCM, and coming from the fuel injector connector. So I know that the PCM is bad. So I scan for codes again. The ignition is on. It says there's no DTCs. So if it was a wiring issue, and if it was completely open, and then it would show up on the trouble code before I start the vehicle. So I know that the PCM is no good. Because usually if it's a bad wiring, meaning if it's completely open, if there's a break in the wire, there would be a trouble code stored before you would even start the vehicle. Now, as soon as I start the vehicle, the check engine light comes on, and P0202 is stored in the computer again. So I just found something extremely strange that happened. I had the vehicle running, and there was a small fire that was happening here. I blew it out, and I see that that something is rubbing against the alternator plastic. You can see it's melted. I don't know what's going on here, and I see some wires here. So I'm going to have a look at that. So I just took the alternator out, and I can see that something has been rubbing against the plastic here on the alternator, and now it has melted the plastic. And then I go to here, and where the harness is, you see some of the burning pieces here, the remnants of the burnt stuff. So I have to double check these wires, make sure that they are okay, and if they need to be replaced, or not. So I inspected the wires. I don't see any broken wires except that a little bit of some burnt marks and discoloration. I was trying to explain the customer, but I don't think the customer is understanding. So the customer thinks that I shorted something out. This just happened after I shut the vehicle off. I was done my testing, and then it happened off camera, and so I wasn't able to show that. And it's been like that for some time. It's not something that happens overnight. Something has been rubbing against the alternator and against the wiring and stuff here. You can see the amount of burnt marks here. It was just a really a tiny small fire that happened off camera, and I blew it out, and then that's it. So now this vehicle is all finished and it's all fixed now. It drives okay. There's no more misfires, and the check engine light is gone now. The main problem was the harness that was hiding behind the alternator. It was rubbing against the alternator and causing problems. And also it was touching the engine block or cylinder head ground and causing problems. And so that's why everything in the computer system, it was going all funky and stuff. So I readjusted the wiring harness, and I put a little bit of the wire loom or a little bit of tape or something to protect the wires, and then that's it. I didn't show everything about removing and reinstalling the alternator because I was running out of time, so I had to get everything all done quickly because I needed the customer to be on their way. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day and take care. Garbage man can. The garbage man. The garbage man can. The garbage man. The garbage man can. Episode from The Simpsons. The garbage man episode. There's no more misfires. It's fixed. It didn't need a PCM. The vehicle, the harness, the wiring was shorting out against the engine, on the engine block or on the head. It was shorting out, so the wires were touching something, causing all these issues. So it's kind of strange. So the wiring, it tested okay. That's why I always wanted to double check a bunch of stuff before condemning, or before I condemn the PCM. The vehicle runs okay. There's no problems. I replaced the one spark plug for the time being. I recommended to the customer to replace all of the plugs and the wires at some other point in time, because there's no time at the moment. So I just wanted to get this customer on their way, have it fixed, and have the customer on their way. There's no check engine light or anything at the moment. No more hesitation. Vehicle runs well.